Good morning, everyone. Super cool, we have more people here. So this morning I'm going to talk to you about a very hot topic within ESMA, European Security Markets Authority. They made like extensive public consultation with the Web3 sector to determine what is market abuse in this sector and how it should be regulated. So I thought that it would be good to tackle this topic with you today. And I will give you like a question to see if you can find something in common. So think about front-running bots, or 30 seconds reorgs, or maybe you're just thinking to seed, do a funding in your startup. Do you feel like maybe could be something in common with these things? It could be. For example, in certain circumstances, this could be a market abuse. And I'm not here to kill innovation. Actually, I'm here to make sure that it survives regulations. And be mindful that European Union is not just like building some niche compliance sandbox. On the contrary, the EU launched the most regulated framework, the most comprehensive, super complex, and this is MiCA. And I would say is the most comprehensive crypto rule on the planet. And MiCA is not just another regulation. Because if you, for example, are writing Solidity, maybe you are validating blocks, maybe you are designing tokenomics, but in a way or another, you need to be MiCA compliant. And regulation is not opposite to decentralization. It's how we legitimize it and how we move from the fringe to the financial core. And basically you see here, in my honest opinion, MiCA is Europe's crypto constitution. And it governs a lot of aspects. How you do the trading, if you're a trading platform, how you keep the in custody, the crypto assets of the clients. And in case you want to issue a stable coin, of course, you're under MiCA. And it applies in certain aspects, irrespective of what is the underlying technology. And also you need to be aware that MiCA doesn't travel alone. It drags with it the anti-money laundering, it drags with it the Digital Operational Resilience Act, the DORA, the GDPR, and our old friend, market abuse regulation from the traditional finance, which was very inspirative for ESMA to put it in MiCA, apparently. Yeah, so let's move forward. There are some certain chapters. It's Title 6 under MiCA, and with particular articles which define what is market abuse. If it is insider dealing or trading, unlawful disclosures, market manipulation. We have precise terminology for this and guidelines how to comply with those. And when you translate those from MiCA, which of course they govern the centralized Web3 space, but you need also to be aware that there is this tendency, willingness from the European Union and especially European Security Markets Authority to look very cautious to the DeFi and see if DeFi is really DeFi, it's indeed decentralized, and if it's not decentralized as we sometimes, the projects claim we are, to fall under the regulations, basically. And when you're promoting a project, you need to be super careful how you convey the information to the public. If you burn some tokens, if you promote yourself in Discord, how you're going to do that in order not to seem like you are prepositioning yourself to something. And also to be aware of the sandwich attacks. So the maximum extractable value, MIV, was put in consultation by ESMA with the Web3 sector, and companies, association gave feedback, very extensive. And there are some sorts of, let's say, legitimate MIV, and some of them are not at all okay. They fall under the regulations. For example, I would say that arbitrage would be the less problematic. It has like a low risk level, and it's arguable legitimate. But if we talk about sandwich attacks, liquidation bots, or time-banded reorgs, it's a very high risk level. And depending on how exactly you are, really decentralized, or you, to a certain extent, are centralized, you may fall under the articles of the MiCA. You may fall under Article 91 manipulation, or you could fall under the inside trading, and consequences come with that. So Europe is really watching what the crypto sector is doing and what happens between the mempool and the block. And because ESMA didn't seem to care too much about best efforts, and they listened when they collected the input in the consultation, in the public consultation from the Web3 sector, but they didn't really implemented what we, the sector, desired. So they were very technical, very to the point, and also quite traditional because they keep the market abuse regulation from the traditional finance very close to their mindsets. And they decided that if you are a person who is professionally arranging or executing transaction, you fall under the MiCA regulation, under the specific Title 6, where it's about market abuse, and you need to be compliant, meaning you need to have policies and procedures and to detect and prevent any market abuse. So if you are reordering, batching, matching transaction, you likely fall under the regulations, meaning that you will need to detect and prevent market abuse. And here it was like a big debate from the sector. Companies replied to ESMA in the public consultations that it will be difficult for them to be compliant with the MIV detection and protections, and they argued that validators cannot reorder the blocks, and this is true. This is true because after the merge of Ethereum in 2022, the validators could not see anymore what's in the block, but the builders can, the searchers can, and the relays also can. So in that context, you need to be aware that if you are taking advantage of reordering the transaction, you might be doing some front running, which comes with consequences, of course. Of course, let's say the black and white, no gray area. Here is no gray area. If you are an OTC desk, trading platform, on-ramp crypto, and or you're executing orders on behalf of the clients, or you're doing reception or transmissions, here it's no doubt you need to have policies and procedures to detect and prevent market abuse. And in case something happened in your ecosystem, you will need to report that. And ESMA put it a specific report called the Suspicious Transaction Order Report that you need to fill in. It's super extensive, pages and pages, and basically explain, was it in a permissionless DLT where it happened? Was it on-chain? Was it off-chain? What are the characteristics of that suspicious transaction? And file that as soon as possible to the national authority. Yeah, so we move forward. As I was saying, validators are not considered now persons professionally arranging or executing transactions because they cannot see anymore what's in the block. But the builders and searchers do have visibility. Also, the relays as gatekeepers can be in this part with the MIV really connected. And when we have the power, we also have the responsibility. And as the authorities found it correctly, if you can front run, you can manipulate. So I believe that we need to move our mindset, and from the way we design the protocol to the way we utilize the protocol, it should be compliance all over the steps. And here, based on Article 92, I gave you like a checklist. How you need to put in your company, in your ecosystem, the right steps and the right things in order to be able to detect and prevent suspicious transactions. So you need to have a real-time monitoring, a tool. There are a couple of tools that, from my knowledge, they are basically utilized by trading platforms and exchanges because they are designed for these trading venues to make sure that the maker, the taker, when it's like a hub for transactions, is not happening any sort of market abuse. But even like in-house developing of software tools, it's another possibility. If you have the capabilities internally to design your tools, to notify you, to monitor, and flag if something is happening, you are also welcome to use your own capabilities. And basically, you have to have this pipeline of notification for suspicious transaction order report to be able to do it to your national regulators, and to have the MIV policy disclosure, to do some compliance training for your people, and if you are in a DAO, to have a super organized way of doing business in such a context. Because we say that it's decentralized, but sometimes a bunch of people do have the power and it's not that decentralized. Okay. So I believe compliance will become more and more the main focus, even for developers and for builders and relayers. And compliance has a price indeed. ESMA inquired the Web3 sector if it will be hard for the sector to be compliant and what costs are estimated. And the majority of respondents said that they believe that for a small company, just to implement market abuse detection and prevention, it's going to be a cost of 110, 130K per year. And if you are like a bigger company, it could go up to 300K annually, because you need real-time surveillance, full-stack audit trails. So basically, this is a cost that if you are in a centralized ecosystem and you realize that you are centralized and not in DeFi, you need to factor this cost and put it on your budget list and try to be compliant as soon as possible, because after MiCA got in place 30th of December 2024, the part with the market abuse became totally applicable, and it's not under a grace period, it's not under grandfathering rules, it became absolutely applicable. And yeah, the sector wanted some extension to be able to comply. The authority received that response, but didn't honor that response with a yes. On the contrary, they said, no, it's going to be applicable starting with 30th of December 2024. Okay, so talking now about Ethereum legal future. For Ethereum, I believe we have this cool thing that happened in 2022 when it was the merge. And basically, the validators were not able to see anything more that was in the block, which made Ethereum, when they migrated from the proof of work to the proof of stake, let's say, more compliant in that sense, because that temptation for the validator to reorder the transaction in order to gain financial advantages basically was eliminated. And it's super important to look how things are happening in your communications, in your Telegram, in your Discord, as I was previously mentioning, and be mindful that if you position in a way, or people from your company that could be accused of insider dealing, or if they could be prepositioning themselves knowing that something cool will happen and money will come from that, it's indeed a very hard circumstance then to explain yourself to the authorities, and it's not going to be we didn't know, we just started to do the same things that it's the majority in the crypto space. We didn't know it, and we want now to be excused. It's not gonna work. Okay, okay. So if we wanna build, we should build on solid legal ground. And MiCA is not our enemy. Maybe it's not our best friend, but it's a way to put ourselves in a better light. Once we get compliant, I believe that more opportunities can come. Traditional finance institutions to collaborate with the crypto space and make it more friendlier than it is presently for the whole people. There are opportunities with being compliant to MiCA, not just downsize. And I believe that Ethereum should continue to lead. What happened in 2022 was not just from a technical perspective, not just from a business perspective to be able to scale better. I think it was also a legal mind behind the scenes who was trying to make Ethereum be more robust, more resilient, with that compliance mindset in the future. And pretty much that's it. If you have questions, I'm happy to address them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Do you have any questions? Can I pass you the mic?
Okay. Who do you think, what industry do you think it will be the main beneficiary of MiCA being well implemented in Romania?
The industry that will benefit the most will be, without a doubt, those who are in a centralized space, because without this MiCA license, they will have just the option to liquidate the business when the grandfathering period will expire, or to merge with someone who has a license, or otherwise, if not, basically, yeah, to liquidate the business or to merge. Otherwise, they cannot remain in the space. And if you want to remain, you need this license. So it will benefit you the most to continue doing business. But apart from this, once you get the license, I think you have opportunities. You have an opportunity if you want to raise money with an IPO on London Stock Exchange, on, I don't know, another exchange from Germany, I mean national, or the Warsaw, or whatever we have here in the space, in European Union, where you could get more investments because you are compliant. You come and say, look, I almost obtained like a banking license. I prove that I have the capital adequacy, prudential rules, corporate governance. The board has been approved by a national authority. We are leading this company in full transparency, protecting the customers. And this is good.
Yeah. And maybe more utopic perspective, what should be next once we have MiCA in place? What will be best to have next?
Well, speaking now from a Romanian perspective, I'm not so confident how we will deal in our Romanian local part of our European Union in Romania with the authorities to obtain a MiCA license. I'm not so confident that things will go so smooth, but sooner or later they will need to adapt, and I'm looking forward to see how ASF will receive applications. I'm looking forward to see how the National Bank of Romania will say this is an electronic money token, so I will gonna supervise you. So it's we live in exciting times, I believe, but I cannot predict them. Yeah.
Do you have any more questions? I have a question for you. If we have a public mempool where researchers and block producers are actually incentivized to do sandwich attacks and MEV because they can make more money, why regulate? And they're obviously synonymous or even anonymous because you don't know who the block producer is. Why regulators expect companies to then regulate that when it's almost impossible for companies to do, especially small companies? They're trying to emerge in this comparatively complex market. And as a new company, if you have to pay 110, 130,000 pounds per year just to be compliant with MiCA, you most likely would choose to go and build a company somewhere else rather than stay in EU. Like, there's the two parts question. Like, do we disincentivize people to stay in EU? And why do we do it this way when the game has been rigged?
Okay, so basically, this with moving abroad out of the European Union, I mean, could be something, but it needs to be analyzed very carefully. Because if you do something outside, in Dubai, in Cayman Islands or whatever, you need to be very careful if you really want European Union clients, you really want to service them, and if you decided to say goodbye, okay, you can do that. But if you still want clients in the European Union, that's not a good move. because it's not about where you are located, it's where is the client located. And you put yourself only in a very limited position to rely on reverse solicitation, meaning that the client on its own initiative to come to you without advertising, without soliciting any sort of service and interaction with them. And basically, you renounce to the European Union clients with this. Yeah. And that's the cost. If you don't want to stay in the European Union, you lose the clients. But I would advise to stay, because it's a big market. It's a big market, and the license should be taken, one from the European Union, another from Singapore, and another from United States of America, to be able to do business all over the world, I would say. That would be my take.
Thanks for that. Do you have any more questions? No more questions. Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Telling us a bit more about MiCA.
Thank you for your time.